Hey guys, I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about extending a little grace to people as opposed to being petty. And I'm going to talk about my experience out on Fiverr. As you all know, that I am a new children book author, and so I went out on Fiverr to hire an illustrator. And this person, her reviews were like really outstanding. Some of the work that I looked at, I was really pleased with it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hire her. So Fiverr is kind of like a hit or miss. You may see something, but then you may not get it. Kind of like with Amazon and some of these other vendors you might look at. So I kind of went in with that. But at the same time, her reviews were so good. I was like, okay, what are the chances? Well, let me tell you. Okay, so again, the work she provided, her ability to illustrate, it was there. It was there. But her communication was very poor. It was very poor. It would be 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time before I would hear from her. And I was always initiating the conversations. I was always reaching out to her. And I want to say I've spent like $140 for a number of illustrations for my book. So yeah, but again, like I said, I was always reaching out to her, and she would always come back like 2-3 days later. And I was not accustomed to that, because typically I would get a response from those who I was working with on Fiverr within 24 hours, sometimes the same day. Some of those individuals out there, they are like very prompt. They come right back, so, but I should have red flag. I should have known, because you have the ability to see how much work is in a person's queue. And when I looked, her queue was pretty full. So she already had projects. And I do believe that was because of the fact that she had, her illustrations were so good. She had that level of people seeking her out. People were really seeking her out. So I believe that she just took on too much work. You ladies, you ever been to a beautician and she's really good, but then she stakes you on top of her clientele, and you just kind of fall where the chips may lay? You know what I'm trying to say. So and you end up sitting there hours and hours and hours, because she's good, but she just has way too many clients waiting on her services. And I believe this is what occurred with this person here. So this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. It just got to the point where I was saying, you know what? I just want to be done with this. Let me just cut it, And she had one of the things that brought me in was you could have unlimited revisions. So if something wasn't the way you liked it, she would revise it, no problem. But it was just getting to her to get it revised. And a lot of times when I would ask for the revisions, she wasn't even doing them. And another thing that was working my nerves was the fact that she sold herself as being one who knows how to pull the book together. Not just illustrating, but she knows about, the front cover, the back cover, the spine of the book, all the different details, and aligning the words out in such a way that a reader, it will just flow easy. I can't have words all crammed up together. That's gonna mess a child up when they're trying to read. I'm an adult and I can't read like that, so, and I would tell her, I'm like, okay, now you see where the period is, period, space, 2 over, move it. All she had to do was just copy what I had and paste it in there. Everything was already in alignment on my end. She just needed to align it on her end. So that told me it was some pieces she didn't know. She wasn't an expertise in that. She, like I said, she was good with the illustration piece, but not some of the other components that went into the making of the book. So I was like, okay. And like I said, I just wanted to get it over with, be done, going back and forth. It was exhausting. I was just exhausted. I was like, I just want to be done. So, you have an opportunity to provide comments. how was it was, working with that person? Would you recommend this person to somebody else? Would you, work with her again? What was it like? That kind of thing. So I had that opportunity, but something wouldn't let me do it. I said, you know what? I haven't always met the mark when I've done stuff. In my opinion, I've never not followed up. That was just crazy. But I just said, you know what? I'm not going to bash her. I'm just not going to say anything. And then Spiver will come back and say, you can do an anonymous, you can provide anonymous feedback. I still wouldn't do it. I say, you know what? No, I'm not going to slander her or anything like that. She already knows how I felt because I had sent her some heated emails saying, look, this is my expectation. So I had already provided her feedback. I didn't feel like I wanted to do it publicly. I'm going to read this scripture. It comes from Proverbs 19:11. A person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. And that just made me think about how many times people have had to overlook me and some of my offenses. So here I'm like, extend her some grace. Extend her some grace. You don't have to come out swinging on her for everybody to hear. You've already given her some feedback in some one-on-one emails. I don't want to do anything to prohibit her from getting more work. Hopefully the feedback I gave her one-on-one is going to help her amp her game up and to be a better person and to be a better illustrator and to communicate more effectively with her audience. Now, if she doesn't, that's on her because I've already provided her with that feedback. But I just felt it wasn't necessary for me to slander her. And that's what I kind of wanted to get on here and talk about, to the point that sometimes it's not necessary for us to slander people in front of the public. If you have a problem with your brother or your sister, you go to them. And try to work that out behind the scenes. That's not for everybody else to be a part of. That's how the issue gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you go to that person as opposed to going to Mike and George and Connie and Tiffany, but you got a problem with Trina, no, you go to Trina and try to resolve that problem with Trina. Stop telling all these other people what's going on because it's not going to get fixed until you go to the root. We got to get to the root of things. So yeah, I just thought it was really important. And I did some digging on this and here's one of the talking points. Y'all know I like to do talking points. Here, number one was pettiness stems from pride or hurt. Pettiness often arises when we feel slighted, undervalued, or want to assert superiority. Couldn't get that out. Recognizing the root can help us respond with humility instead of reacting defensively. Yeah, so I didn't want to react in an ugly way. So I'm like, no, I've already spoken to her via email. I don't need to take this any further. Pettiness hurts relationships. Small, unnecessary conflicts escalate and create walls in relationships. Choosing to overlook minor offenses can strengthen bonds and build trust. We see this all the time, even with family members. Sometimes, you need to try to work that thing out behind the scenes. Go to your auntie, your brother, your sister, or whoever you might be having that issue with, your coworker, whoever that is, and see if you can kind of work that out as opposed to being petty. That person did something to you. I'm just going to button up and I'm not going to talk to you. I don't want to have nothing to do with you. Just don't even talk to me. Leave me alone. Yeah. I've done it, at work. I'm not going to just, yeah, good morning. And that's it. That's all I got for you. That's all I got for you today. Good morning. Yeah. Grace is a powerful alternative to pettiness. Grace. Choosing grace allows us to rise above small-minded thinking and reflect maturity and kindness. Grace isn't about letting others win, but about preserving peace and personal growth. It's not always about taking a win. I ain't even gonna go here. I'm not even gonna go here with my Jaguars. It's not about the win. It's about the peace. And I think for those of us who are in relationships, whether you're married, you're engaged or whatever, sometimes you just want peace. You like, okay, I know I was right, but I'm gonna let you think you right today. How about that? I'm gonna just let you be right. I'm just not even gonna say anything. I'm gonna act as though it's not even a big issue. Sometimes you have to choose peace over being right. Now, there is a time where you do need to stand up for what you really feel is right, that you don't feel like you're a walking mat or a doormat, because I'm definitely not telling you to be a doormat at all. Hear that real clear. I'm not doing that. But you have to learn how to pick your battles. Pick your battles. Some action steps here is to pause before reacting. Pause before reacting. When tempted to respond out of pettiness, take a moment to evaluate whether the issue is truly worth emotional energy. Is this going to exhaust you? Is this going to just mess up your whole entire day? Because now you want to be petty. She said something to you. Now you want to slight her with some clap back, or you want to be vindictive. Or is it really worth it? You got to ask yourself, will this matter in a day, a month, or a year? Will it? Will this matter in a day, a month, or a year? Practice forgiveness. That is so important. Let go of minor offenses and focus on the bigger picture. Remind yourself of times you've needed forgiveness for small missteps. We're talking about small stuff. I'm not talking about anything major. I'm talking about small stuff, But if you keep telling somebody over and over and over again that they have offended you and they continue to do that, they're not trying to hear you. They're not trying to hear you at all. So now you have to make a decision whether you're going to continue with that type of behavior, or you're just going to cut that person off, or you're just going to, limit the amount of time that you spend with that person, or that issue itself. I'm just not even going to talk to you about this because you have shown me how you feel after I've told you that. What is it in Maya Angelou says? When a person show you who they are, believe them. We try to come up with all kind of excuses for what people do and what people say. People do exactly what they want to do. They say exactly what they say, and they mean it. They mean it. When you keep seeing them doing it over and over and over again, it's up to you to be the change. It's up to you to be the change. Seek wisdom in prayer and scripture. Pray for strength to respond with grace and wisdom when faced with petty situations. Reflect on scriptures that encourages forgiveness and humility. Yeah, so we have to really seek God in situations where we feel that we have been wronged. Ask God, is this something that I should really assert myself in? Is this something that I really need to spend the energy and the time in? Or is this something, God, that I can just let go? I've already surrendered it to you, but do I go to this person? And timing is of the essence. You got to know when to talk to a person. You can't go in talking to somebody when you're all hot and upset. You're already hot and bothered. Can I talk to you for a minute? See, you are. you already in that zone. So you need to kind of cool down, simmer down before you go and try to have that conversation with people. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and talk about, extending some grace to people as opposed to being petty. We have all gone down a path where we have wronged someone, or we may not have stepped up to the plate like we should have. And we need to make sure that when someone wrongs us, sometimes it's easier just to forgive and move on. Forgive and move on. But like I said, when you keep coming with that same behavior over and over and over again, it's a problem. Then now you need to make a decision. How do you move forward? So I hope that what I said makes sense and you get something out of this. Until next time, continue to grow and glow with the Lord. Take care.